exclamation point from Rudy Gobert as
The season's over. Oh my god. Frank Vogel, it's all your fault. Oh my god. We got swept by the Minnesota Timberwolves. Oh my god. We got Frank Vogel, we gotta blame somebody, so it's you. Frank, it's your fault. Matt Ishbia, I came to the team on December 20th, 2022. I bought this franchise for $4 billion. And you know what I did? 2 months later, I got Kevin Durant. Man. I gave up all of our draft capital. I gave up all of our assets. I gave up everything for Kevin Durant. You know why? Because I'm a former hooper myself. And I know hoopers when I see one. Kevin Durant is the ultimate hooper, and Frank Vogel, it's your fault that we didn't win a championship. Matter of fact, it's your fault we got eliminated in the first round. I know that you're a defensive-minded head coach, and we had a top 15 defensive unit without any all-NBA defensive talent on this team. I know. Trust me, I know Frank Vogel, but I gotta blame somebody, so it's gonna be you. It's gonna be you, Frank Vogel. It's your fault, man. I just feel like Kevin Durant's being used wrong offensively. I don't care that your defensive scheme as a defensive head coach and having a whole starting roster of offensive players doesn't fit your scheme. You didn't fit my scheme, because I care about fits, so fit is what matters. Welcome back to another episode on the MLD Balls page, man. Come on, man. Let's talk about the Phoenix Suns, and y'all already see where I'm going with this. Let's talk about Frank Vogel immediately. Frank Vogel is an amazing head coach. Well, amazing, I might be mutting it, but Frank Vogel is actually a great head coach. Frank Vogel is a good head coach, guys. So I just wanted to be let known that this is going to be the second time in a row he got scapegoated. The Lakers scapegoating with Russell Westbrook. I mean, look at the Lakers ever since Frank Vogel's been gone. Ain't been on shit. I know they went to the conference finals last year, but I guess I can't say they ain't been on shit, but Lakers ain't been looking as good since Frank Vogel left there. And we could all agree that he's a better coach than Darvin Ham. And we all can agree that Russell Westbrook was the problem in Los Angeles at the time he was there. And also, the Lakers could agree with us with that too, because they traded Russell Westbrook the next year. Because guess what? They had a team that didn't fit with each other. LeBron and Westbrook just didn't fit. But this isn't about the Lakers. This is about Frank Vogel, because he is once again being scapegoated. And going into the season, everybody was talking about how the Suns are going to be this offensive dynamic trio that nobody can stop. Kevin Durant, Mr. I don't need a coach. Mr. Kevin Durant, I am the offense. ISO ball, give it to me. It don't work. The Suns were not able to put the Timberwolves in rotation. And a big part of that is fit. When we talk about putting a shooting guard, maybe the best shooting guard in the NBA at point guard, that just is the start of where this Suns team just didn't mantle with each other. It's a sad thing that it seems like Frank Vogel might lose his job. It really is, because he did what he came here for. He's a defensive coordinator. Like, we're going to put it in quotation marks. He's a defensive coordinator who had an amazing offensive unit. I mean, when we go back to the offseason, they made that Jusuf Nurkic trade as a player that could fit Frank Vogel's scheme. When you think about Jusuf Nurkic, you don't think about defense. And the fact that that was the best option that they were willing to provide him as a defensive coach is kind of funny. They're like, you need defense? We got Jusuf Nurkic for you, man. I mean, he is a better defender than DeAndre Ayton, but like, the standard, the bar is low. That's what I'm saying. The bar is low, and the amount of talent that Frank Vogel was given on the defensive side of the ball, I commend you for having one of the best defenses in the league. The fact that the Suns finished 13th in the NBA on the defensive side of the ball with a lineup of Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Grayson Allen, Kevin Durant, and Jusuf Nurkic, shout out to you. If I hope you find a job on the Bucks. I mean, the Bucks would be an amazing spot for him. Brooke Lopez, Bobby, they're getting old, but I hope he finds a team that will be willing to commend the fact that he's the defensive coach. Like we all know this, going from the Pacers days, the Lakers, even now on the Suns. That's where he uplifted his team the most. He did what he was here for, and I gotta commend him for that. But Anthony Edwards, man, what he piping down the Suns for like that, man? Okay, then, and Mike, hey, I said Devin Booker the best shooting guard in the league. That title, we'll see. We'll see what we do with that title. Titles don't really matter, but man, let's get this going straight on with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, dude. I don't even got that much bad to say about you, man. Yeah, you lost to the better team. You lost to an all-time defensive unit that went blurred. I could say you couldn't give me a game. It's crazy. Not gonna lie, you couldn't give me a game. But I kind of like me. I'm a person where Kevin Durant already was like my 11th on my player ranking. So like I'm cool with them losing to the Timberwolves. I personally thought that the Suns were gonna win in 6, but ISO ball don't work. I mean, since Kevin Durant, bro, I'm gonna say straight up, since you left the Golden State Warriors, man, you ain't been on nothing. You ain't been on nothing. You need Steph Curry. They don't need you. Draymond was right. Okay, it's. I'm sorry, man. Draymond was right. I remember that the argument that Draymond had with Kevin Durant was after Kevin Durant didn't pass up the ball because he rather had an isolation play. And Draymond said, "We don't do that over here. Like we understand you amazing, but stop doing that." Every single team he's gone on ever since then, they've been ISO dominant teams with mid-range scorers. You know, he just wants to go hoop. Matt Ishbia, he just wants a lot of players that hoop, and it's go out and have fun, man. Y'all almost won 50 games this year, 49 games. That's an amazing season for the Suns. You know, go out and hoop, man. Go out and ball. Go out and ball. But Kevin Durant, he should be on this team again next year. With the way that the new CBA is set up, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, it is very unlikely that one of those guys will be traded because they cannot be traded for a player that doesn't match their salary because the Suns are now a second apron team. So Matt Ishbia is putting a lot of money on this team. And they ain't even getting out the first round is tough. But trading these two guys is not a part of the plan. I'm not going to lie to you. Trading these two guys would be very tough. On the other end, Yusuf Nurkic, I mean, if you want to, you trade him as 1 for 2. You know, you get a point guard and a center. I don't know, you get a defensive point guard and a defensive center. That would be cool. But on the other end, Yusuf Nurkic is amazing for this team. He rebounds well. He's a great playmaker at his position, and especially with how little playmaking that this team has. I mean, let's go back to Devin Booker real quick. You have a secondary ball handler, one of the best secondary ball handlers in the league, and you're forcing him to be a primary ball handler. What Devin Booker is Devin Booker at. Okay. What is Devin Booker? He is a scorer. Devin Booker is a scorer. So you should leverage him as a scorer. But the way that the Phoenix Suns were playing ball, they were just hoopers. They were leveraging him as a playmaker. They weren't using Devin Booker's amazing off ball. Devin Booker does all that stuff great. He is an amazing on ball player too, and that's why the Suns were able to win 50 games this year. But I mean, you're not gonna use your player's superpower as the main power. You're gonna use what he's the second best at. For example, the Los Angeles Clippers, they got Kawhi and Paul George, who are predominantly scorers, right? And now they got James Harden, who going to set them up. The Suns need that. Like, I mean, Devin Booker doesn't exactly fit those two guys because he's a better playmaker than them. So that makes it even better for the Suns if they were to get a point guard. Because imagine, we're going to talk about some point guard options for the Phoenix Suns, but imagine if they get a point guard, now you can use Devin Booker as a secondary ball handler. That's amazing. Devin Booker, he could play point guard at times. He could play point guard, shooting guard, small forward. He's an amazing all-NBA player, going to come down as a Hall of Famer in the future. Honestly, Devin Booker's that great. I could confidently say he's going to be a Hall of Fame player. But get him somebody who fits him. I understand he's very good and could handle the ball. Yes, I agree. But don't make him have to only relegate to that. In the fourth quarter, get you a point guard because what he's best at is scoring the ball at the end of the day. Going back to Yusuf Nurkic, great playmaker for his position, great rebounder. He's not a bad option for the Suns, honestly. But if they could find a way that makes their roster better by moving him, I wouldn't be like, I wouldn't object to that. But they aren't forced to move Yusuf Nurkic unless they are forced to. And what I mean by that is unless they get a deal that they can't pass up. Holy, cause the Suns, man, they have no trade assets. The next 10 years, this is all they have. They have a second round pick this year that's protected. And with the way the protection looking, the Spurs are gonna get that pick. Actually, the Suns don't even got a second rounder this year. The Spurs are literally getting that pick. Is the Spurs pick protected 31-49? Yes, the Spurs are literally getting that. No. The only pick that they have is a second round pick from the Boston Celtics. You know what that means? They're gonna have pick 46 to 60. The Boston Celtics are a good team, and I'm pretty sure Data Datum will still be there in 2028. Okay, Day to Datum, he will still be on the Boston Celtics in 2028, and they will still be giving him super teams by then. So the Suns ain't gonna have no good pick over there. And then their salary cap situation. Nobody wants Bradley Beal, man. Like nobody wants Bradley Beal unless you attach his name with picks. And the other thing about Bradley Beal is I think that he is the most untradeable player in the NBA because, like I said, not only because of his skill, because Bradley Beal is a great player, but his situation. You got to remember, like I said, the Suns are a second apron tax team. So if any player in the NBA gets traded for Bradley Beal, they have to be making $5.2 million, $50.2 million. Who else in the NBA makes $50.2 million that you will be willing to trade up Bradley Beal for straight up? I don't think there is any other player that is worth that. I mean, I could go check real quick. Stephen Curry makes 51 a year. Again, you're not trading him for Curry. Who else? Oh my goodness, the amount of players that Bradley Beal makes more money than is crazy. But I mean, we're looking at Stephen Curry's of the world, and you're not gonna do that deal one-on-one for Bradley Beal. If you would do that, if you're getting a crazy amount of picks, there's no reason any team in the NBA would trade for Bradley Beal. They're just nuts. So if the Suns want to blow it up, quote unquote, they're gonna have to trade Kevin Durant or Devin Booker, and it's gonna be on like 50 cents on the dollar. And I don't think that's going to happen. So what the Suns are going to do is they're going to run this back. Honestly, they're going to run this trio back unless something magical happens. But I think if somebody does get traded, it's going to be Yusuf Nurkic. Yusuf Nurkic should get traded for like a $9 million center and like a $9 million point guard, you know. But after that, the Suns, they not trading Devin Booker. They not trading Kevin Durant. I can't say not with Kevin Durant. You can never say that, but man, Kevin Durant could move at any time, but they're not trading Devin Booker. Bradley Beal can't get traded. Dude, I don't see how the Suns, it's going to be hard for them, but I'm going to tell y'all what I personally will go into the offseason as my game plan for the Suns. This is what y'all came to this video for, to figure out what's my game plan. I'm going to tell y'all. The point guard spot is vacant. We're going to talk about that in the next slide. But we started Grayson Allen at the shooting guard. I feel like he fits the defensive mode because he was a part of that Yusuf Nurkic trade also when the Phoenix Suns were looking to acquire defense. I think playing Grayson Allen at small forward is unfair to him. And the Suns last year, they weren't really running their position group as it was said on the starting lineup because they really were starting – I don't want to get into it, but Bradley Beal was their point guard. Grayson Allen was their shooting guard. Devin Booker was their small forward. Devin Booker was running point forward out there because on defense, he was guarding small forwards. You feel me? So, like, you are who you guard, in my opinion. Devin Booker for this specific Suns team is a small forward. He is one of those players who I look at like Tracy McGrady. He could play the 1, 2, 3. I also look at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander like that. Shai Gilgeous could play the 1, 2, 3. And not a lot of players that could do that. Cade Cunningham, 1, 2, 3. You know, some players are special enough to where they can play the 1, 2, 3. And Devin Booker is one of those players. So on a team with Bradley Beal and Grayson Allen, on a team where, if we're going to be realistic, let's count. Grayson Allen is 1, Devin Booker is 2, Bradley Beal is 3, Eric Gordon is 4, I almost want to say Royce O'Neal, but I know he plays power. I think Royce O'Neal is amazing at shooting, or whatever. 4 out of their 8 best players, all right? Because Eric Gordon, we could agree, was at least a top 8 player on this team. 4 out of the 8 best players on this team are shooting guards. Half of your roster is shooting guards. Guys, if you could agree with me, what is the least valuable position in the NBA? Shooting guards. You have half of your roster as the least valuable position in the NBA. And that's how, like, come on, man. That's bad team building. That's actually very poor team building. And when I talked about trades, I didn't mention Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon, he like for the Suns, that is somebody they should want to keep, man. $3 million, and he's that productive for them. Like, he is someone they gotta keep, man. And I don't think he could be a tradable piece for them, especially he brings that veteran leadership. I mean, do the Suns need any more veteran leadership? Not really, but this is going to be the depth chart I run for them. I want me a point guard for Frank Vogel that could take over in the fourth quarter. You know why? I know what Frank Vogel could do on his part of the bargain. You are having a defensive-minded head coach with no point guard. What are you doing? Like, the whole reason you have a defensive-minded head coach is so he could take that side of the ball and tell these guys what to do while you have a point guard lead the rest of the guys. And look, when you have a point guard who is primarily a playmaker, you will have now a very great lineup of playmakers. The problem is they need somebody to be the number one playmaker and move everybody down the chart once. Because look, if Devin Booker was your secondary playmaker, Bradley Beal was your tertiary, Devin Booker was Kevin Durant was your fourth, Yusuf Nurkic as your fifth playmaker, that is a very good team. It really is. It's just the fact that Devin Booker has to be LeBron James. That's not who he is. He is Devin Booker. Let him be Devin Booker and get you a point guard. And Bradley Beal, you got to come off that bench, man. No cap. Like, no cap in my rap. You know, you got to come off that bench. I was saying this all year. I was saying this since the beginning of the season, which is crazy how well that aged. But I do think Bradley Beal should come off the bench. And Bradley, you make $50 million. Like, you have a problem with it, go to the bank and laugh, you know? But Bradley Beal, he's not going onto the bench because of how bad he is. Don't worry about that. That's not the reason you going to the bench, Brad. You going to the bench because of how good you are. And look, the point guard that the Phoenix Suns would acquire would have to be a guy on a minimum deal. If they were to get somebody in free agency, he would have to be on a minimum deal, and Bradley Beal would be better than say player. But say player would fit better. For example, let's say that the Suns got Chris Paul back, which would be a great signing for them. But let's say they got Chris Paul back. You have Chris Paul, Grayson Allen, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Yusuf Nurkic. Chris Paul runs the offense, pick and roll through Nurkic, pick and fade with KD if KD is willing to set screens, because KD on the other end, KD's out here complaining that he feels like he's being used wrong on offense. But KD also wants to be healthy. KD does not drive to the paint anymore, so you can't use him in pick and rolls. KD's just his body, he's not the type to really set screens for real, so he doesn't even pick and fade that much. I mean, maybe he should pick and fade more if he wants to be involved in the offense more, but KD, the only way you want to be used on offense is ISO ball. Frank Vogel isn't the type of guy that runs sets like that. Like, I don't know why you're surprised. And you're not willing to set screens like that, and you're not willing to dive at the basketball. Frank Vogel's offense is simple. It's pick and roll, pick and fade. You got if you want to see the ball besides being in the corner whenever you don't have the ball in your hands, then set some screens, man. Set some screens. But Bradley Beal on the bench, he will play the Manu Ginobili role, where you have just somebody who could carry the bench, because that's what they need. Bradley Beal, you run point off the bench. You have Eric Gordon at the 2, Royce O'Neal at the 3, or you could even have Royce O'Neal at the 4. You keep Devin Booker at the 3. You know, you play around with your bench. Bradley Beal, you come off the bench and you give us a spark whenever Booker or Durant is sitting. You know, always have 2 of those guys on the court at once. And Bradley Beal, he will kill second units. I mean, absolutely murder. But these guys, if we being real, they're a bunch of shooting guards. Like Kevin Durant is like a 6'10", shooting guard. You know, Devin Booker's an amazing shooting guard. Bradley Beal's an amazing shooting guard. So get these guys in a position to where they can rotate. And you, although they might not, you figure out the fourth quarter stuff. All right, you figure that stuff out. And if feelings are hurt, bank accounts aren't. So keep your feelings hurt. Royce O'Neal, I will keep him next year. He's a great defender, great 3-and-D. Eric Gordon, I'll keep him. Eubanks and Bobo, if you could upgrade those spots also, I would suggest you do. But the main thing that the Phoenix Suns need to do is find a point guard so they can have Bradley Beal come to the bench. Because if they find a point guard, it improves their bench and it improves their starting lineup. And let's talk about some of the point guard options I got. We talked about Christopher Emmanuel Paul already. If Christopher Emmanuel Paul came back to Phoenix, which I believe could be something that happens because the Golden State Warriors, they're going to cut Chris Paul, or something's going to happen with Chris Paul because his money's not guaranteed. I don't know how that works in the NBA yet. Hey, shout out Brandon Marshall, because I thought he was crazy when he said NBA players' contracts aren't guaranteed, but turns out he was right. So we're going to have Chris Paul, he'll be on another team besides the Golden State Warriors next year, I'm pretty sure. Hey, Phoenix, you got to give him a call. And Chris Paul could be like, yeah, they need me. Yeah, they need me back. You feel me? And I'm pretty sure he liked his time at Phoenix. So Chris Paul could be an option. TJ McConnell would be a perfect option. TJ McConnell could start for y'all, and he plays defense, and he could run the point for y'all. And he's another mid-range assassin, though. So it would be funny to see how that works out. But TJ McConnell would be a very good option. Patrick Beverly would be a nice option. Although he might not be the type lead guard as a Christopher Paul, Patrick Beverly would be a good option because he plays defense. He has grit. He's a viable playmaker. He makes your playmaking better, but Patrick Beverly, but you're desperate, so Patrick Beverly is an option. You got DeLon Wright. DeLon Wright could, oh my goodness, as a Heat fan, y'all don't have DeLon Wright, but as a basketball fan, DeLon Wright would be perfect for y'all, but I don't want y'all to have him. Reggie Jackson would be another fun option. He could come start for y'all. Davion Mitchell, he could be a guy who's looking for a minimum deal because the Kings seem like they're not that interested in him, and he could come to Phoenix and show what he's worth. And another thing for all of these guys is they are going to be promised a starting position. You're going to have to come in the interview, be like, hey, we're going to give you a minimum contract. That's all we got. We're literally on our knees giving you everything we got. I know it's the minimum, but with the minimum, you get a starting spot. And we're looking to win a championship. We're going to have Bradley Beal come off the bench as Emmanuel Ginobili. There will be times where Bradley Beal plays more minutes than you. He's Bradley Beal. But we want you to start, and we want to give you that, not opportunity, but that security at the starting point guard position. You go into that interview, let these point guards know you want them to start, and you have an amazing six-man. So, hey, Phoenix Suns, dude, they really got swept, man. Like, you ought to be ashamed of yourself getting swept, dog. But at the same time, it's the Timberwolves were amazing, but this guy right here, Frank Vogel, hope you stay as the Phoenix Suns head coach because you did a great job. You led the 13th best defensive unit in the NBA as a defensive head coach with a roster of who was the best defender on this team, Kevin Durant or Yusuf Nurkic? Look, we're gonna have that debate. Kevin Durant or Yusuf Nurkic is your best defender, and you led a top half defensive team. Shout out to you. Well, that'll be it for this video. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Phoenix Suns are cooked, man, but are they? Maybe they could come back next year. But next year will be next year. So have a nice day. Everybody, thank you for watching. If you're liking these episodes that I'm coming out with, I'm going to start uploading. Maybe I'm going to upload at least twice a week. All right, I'm going to set the bar low. I'm just letting y'all know, though, if y'all really like what I'm doing, I'm setting the bar low. So please subscribe. I'm saying 2 videos a week just so I don't disappoint y'all. There could be more than that, but I'm just going to say 2 so I don't disappoint, because I wouldn't want to disappoint anyone who's listening to me 25 minutes in. That means you appreciate what I'm saying, and I appreciate you too. So Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and God bless.